Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to another episode of Care Across Cultures with me, your host Mirban Hussain. You're listening to us on Link FM 96.7, linking communities. I hope everyone is well today. I hope you've had a good weekend and we're enjoying the well, it's pretty mild weather, isn't it, really? I've got a wonderful guest with me today. Someone I've been working with at Rotherham Hospice from the day that I started, I think about 14 months ago. I will be introducing my colleague in a moment. Today we will be talking about a day in the life of, because a hospice has many different professionals working in it. Yes, we have the consultants and the nurses and the physiotherapists and all of these kinds of roles. A key role that I've not sort of interviewed on the programme before is a receptionist. And a receptionist is a key role because a receptionist is the first person that you will meet if you go to the hospice or if you telephone. So it's a key person who have lots and lots of responsibilities and they need to know a huge amount. So today's programme is a day in the life of a receptionist at Rotherham Hospice. Before we go into the conversation, just a disclaimer that the views, opinions expressed on the programme belong to me and my guests and are not necessarily those of Link FM or of the organisations that we represent. So, Elizabeth, welcome to Care Across Cultures.
Good morning, Mirban. Thank you for having me.
You very welcome. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. And I will say I'm a little nervous. I've told you this, but I'm here to answer questions.
That's fine. No, we don't answer. No, it's not. You're not here to answer questions. We're going to have a conversation.
Yes, I'm here to have the conversation.
Well, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
So let's start off, Elizabeth, with share with us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, right. I'm actually nearing retirement age, as it so happens, next month, no, March. But I've had a varied life. I have a daughter and I have worked all my life. After leaving school, I went to work for a travel company, which I worked for 3 years. After I left the travel company, I went to work for South Yorkshire Police and I did 30 years there. Man and boy, as they say.
Man and boy, yes.
Girl and woman, as they say. And I retired from that role in 2013. I was at a loss as to what to do, so initially I went straight back into travel. I worked for a local coach company for a couple of years in their complaints department. At the same time, because I only worked 2 days a week, I decided that I wanted to put something back into the community, and I looked to come into the hospice to work as a volunteer, which is what I did, and that progressed from being a volunteer to becoming a member of the bank staff, and the bank staff sort of somewhere in between a full-time member of staff and a volunteer. I sort of filled in if there were gaps or there was sickness of the main paid members of staff. And then it progressed, and then about 10-11 years ago I became a receptionist, and I'm still there now.
Fantastic, amazing. So you've been there about 10-11 years now. help some of my listeners may not understand. What is a bank staff?
A bank staff is somebody who is a paid member of staff, but they are not a regular member of staff. They are called upon as and when. So, say reception had two people, particularly maybe say during COVID or something like that, two members of staff were ill, and a member of staff was on holiday. It would be difficult to expect one member of staff to cover all the hours. So a bank staff member would be somebody who's been trained in the work of receptionist, and we could ring them up and say, can you come in and cover and help us out? So whilst they're not a full member of staff, they are a member of staff who comes in on an ad hoc basis.
Okay.
That's my understanding of the bank staff.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, you've told us a little bit about who you are and how long you've been in the hospice and how you came to the hospice. Walk us through a typical day. What does a receptionist do?
Right, well, let me tell you firstly, there's four of us.
Okay.
And we cover a period of 12 hours each day, so 8 till 8 every day. Yeah. We are open 24 hours, but we do we have our core opening hours. Probably the first thing to say is that there's absolutely nothing typical about a receptionist day.
Okay.
Yes, in the beginning of the day we have certain things that we have to do to get ourselves reception ready, and at the end of the day there are certain procedures we have to do to make sure that reception is closed properly. But in between that time anything can happen.
Okay.
A lot will be governed on how many patients we have in. Believe it or not, often. No, in fact that's not fair. No. We have 14 beds.
Yes.
We're not always 14 full, but sometimes we can have maybe 8, 9 people in, but one particular patient may have 30 members of family who come and visit them during the day, and that can make reception very, very busy.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but help me understand. 30 members of a patient's family may come and visit them in one day.
Yeah.
Is that a normal thing that sort of happens at hospices, or especially at Rotherham Hospice? That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, but when you consider you can have a family. You can have a family who may have, particularly the older members of, who may have 7, 8, 9 brothers and sisters who may all want to come in. Particularly, are you okay? Particularly,
it's okay. My listeners are used to me coughing.
Oh, particularly if the end of life is particularly near. Not everybody comes into the hospice with end of life care in mind.
Yeah.
Some do, obviously, some do there. And if sort of the opinion is that time is near, then yes, a lot of family members may come in because they want to say their goodbyes. But sometimes families will put restrictions on that as well, say, no, that's enough. We don't want all these people. Are restricted to some people. So maybe 30 was a bit extra, but certainly 20. I've known we've had that sort of many people come to visit the loved one, and we are there to say, yeah, by all means, if there is any restriction, it comes from the loved one or the immediate family.
And so it's not. There are no restrictions for family and friends visiting the patient at the hospice in terms of how many people can come and.
Absolutely no restrictions. There's no restrictions from our point of view.
Yeah.
The restrictions come from the family or the patient, and they may say, I don't want anybody today.
That's
and obviously
fine.
we have to go. We go with that.
So help me understand. So we've got 22 people who've just turned up. Yeah, at reception at 5 minutes past 9.
Yeah.
What do you actually do? What's the sort of a process that, you know, receptionist has to do? Because they can't, I'm assuming they can't just walk into the...
That's correct.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a new system that's been introduced. We've got a digital system that everybody who visits the hospice has to sign in.
Okay.
The purpose of that is fire regulations and so that we know who's in the building. Now, it takes, once you've done it once, it takes 30 seconds to do. It will print out a little digital photograph of you. Mm-hmm. We ask you to put it in one of our plastic wallets that we supply, and you'll have a lanyard on that says visitor. And then, yes, obviously, you can go down and visit your relative or the friend, whoever it is that's in the hospice. People coming in families, so you met 2 or 3 and then you've got 2 or 3, but I'm fortunate on reception that I have a volunteer. And the volunteer on my days, Tuesday and Wednesday, she's very, very good. Mm-hmm. And it makes things a lot easier. It makes things, because we have...
Can we have a bit of a shout out for that volunteer? Can we just give her first name? Because she's amazing.
She is. Jean is brilliant. Having said that, all our volunteers are brilliant.
They are.
But I work mostly with Jean, but all our volunteers are brilliant because they give their time.
Mm. And here's a shout out for all the volunteers, especially the ones in Rotherham Hospice, especially the ones in hospices, and all the volunteers out there who volunteer across all sort of health and social care organisations and anywhere else, because here's a fact: without you as volunteers, a lot of these organisations would not be able to provide the support for patients and families that we do. So a great big thank you. A great big thank you for volunteers, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So it must take a lot of time then, you know, I'm just trying to understand, where would you put, say, to 22 people? They can't all go into the patient's room, can they?
No, they can't. One of the rooms is larger than others, but you would hope that they would take some time out. And basically, within the realms of Rotherham Hospice, we have various areas where members of the family could sit and have coffee, have a drink, in order to sort of take their turn, wait their turn, go in as and when. And again, as I said, that's not down to me to decide. That's how it's sorted out by the staff, or by the family, sorry. But within the hospice, we have a couple of breakout areas, and these we show to members of to the families when we first show them. Because when we first show someone around the hospice, i.e. their first visit, we take time to show them round the facilities that the hospice offers people, so that if you know that some member of the family may decide to stay longer periods, obviously you'll get people who come and go and come back and go, or they'll come the following day. We have other family members who want to stay there a long time. They want to stay there overnight. They want to stay there. And so they need to know what we can provide to make things better for them, so that they're not thinking, crikey, I'm hungry, I'm starving. Yeah. We have a cafe that's open from sort of 8 till 7, I believe is the time. 7 it may be. So that is catered for. They know that there's food available. In our little breakout rooms, they can make themselves tea and coffee if they want it. So we try and make things as good for them as the visitor, as well as the patient. But basically, if there is a lot of people, they will take time and sit out in the breakout areas and take time to go in, so as not to overload the patient. Because
there's the patient who's their relative or friend, but then there's also other patients in other rooms as well, aren't there?
Yes.
And some patients may be extremely ill, so it's I think the key thing that I'm wanting to point out, and I'll ask you that question, is that in hospices there are no restrictions to visitors.
Correct.
They're open 24/7. Visitors can go any time that they want, and also there's no limit in terms of. But obviously, if there's 30 of you that do turn up, you will need to take turns. And I think most people, we find that when they do sort of come in groups, they will take time because they're only going to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, isn't it? There was a key thing that you mentioned earlier. You talked about end-of-life care, didn't you? Now, a hospice is not just end-of-life care, is it?
I like to equate that to when I first wanted to be a volunteer, my honest vision was that this is where people came to die.
Mm-hmm.
I have totally turned that around.
Okay.
It is not the case at all.
No.
It's where people come to get the best life that they can have for the time that they've got left, if that makes sense.
I love that.
And by that I mean, if they are coming in for end-of-life care, then we as the hospice, the nursing staff, the other staff, whether it be the holistic staff, will do what they can to make that patient's life as comfortable as possible. However, patients don't just come in for end-of-life care. They also come in for pain management.
Yeah.
And people with pain management will get their pain under control. Once they've got that pain under control, they go home.
Yeah.
And that's their choice. They go home because they want to go home. That's where they feel where they want to be. They may come back again, but it's not a case of you come through that door and you don't come back out for everybody.
No.
It's different.
And I think that's a key fact out there, because I've come across that ever since I've been working for the hospices, that when you mention the word hospice, that's where people go to die. And I have to correct them, no, because some people do die in a hospice. But most people go there for pain management, symptom management, to become a bit more stabilised. They've had a rough time, and they need to go into hospital to be cared for, because it's 24/7 care.
Yes.
There are doctors, there are nurses, there are physiotherapists, there are all kinds of different professionals who can support them to make them feel better. And once they're stabilised, they do go home. And I think that's a key distinction that I think the general public really need to understand, that if you go to a hospice, it doesn't mean that's it. You might just go for a little. And also, I think hospices, and you will have seen changes, won't you, in the past sort of 10, 11 years that you've been there. How has the hospice sort of changed, in terms of the services that we offer and in terms of what it looks like? Because I understand, and I've only been there about 14 months, but it doesn't look a clinical place, does it?
It isn't, no. And I think that has to go out. You have to give a big shout out to our CEO, Matt Cottleshaw, who I think he's probably been here coming up for 2 years now.
Two and a bit now, isn't he?
Yeah,
2 and a bit years, yeah.
And he has a vision.
Yes.
And the vision is obviously patient-led, visitor-led, surroundings. The changes he has brought, and I've been there while we've had 3, 4 other CEOs. The changes he has brought in that short period far outweighs anything that was brought before. We've had all the rooms redone, and everything is all matching, and everything is all it's just beautiful. It really is. The rooms are absolutely gorgeous. They're like home from home. We encourage people to fetch their own things in if they want, if it makes them feel better. You could, fetch your pictures in, fetch this, fetch that. We also try and make it all the rooms. We offer counselling, and all the rooms have been updated and repainted, and soft furnishings are beautiful and comfortable. We've also had a balcony built outside that was completed. I think we've had that just over 15 months now, maybe. the summer that's just gone, it got used so much.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's a godsend because we look out onto a beautiful Heavythorpe playing fields.
We do.
And more immediately, that's in the distance, but in the front of us, we've got a beautiful garden as well. So everything has been almost turned around to make it a better experience for everybody.
So we've got another sort of 5 minutes or so before we go into our sort of commercial break. And when someone walks into reception, obviously feeling anxious or upset, what do you do?
That is often, it's often the case, particularly for first-time visitors. But there's not sort of one solution fits all. If, say, I take a person who's coming to visit a relative for the first time, we would welcome them, obviously, instruct them how to sign in. We'd give them a little tour on the way down to the room to say this is what's available. We'd impress on them if there's anything that your patient wants, something like, please speak to the nursing staff, because if there's anything that the hospice can do, we will do.
Yes.
And by that I mean we've done weddings, we've done birthday parties.
Oh, tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more.
I think I've been present when we've maybe done 4 weddings. And I have to say, it's generally done in something like 2, 3, 4 days maximum. And our conservatory, which is where they've generally been held, is quite a large room. And it's all set out, and it's just like a real pure wedding. And the 4 I've seen, every time the bride or the groom has come past, you've been in floods of tears because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because we do whatever we can to facilitate whatever the patient wants, if it's within reason, and that we can make their last wishes what they want. Some people want to get married, some people...
Because that's our strategy, isn't it?
It is,
Living
yes.
life's wishes.
Living life's wishes. And
Yeah.
if we can do it, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be able to say we'll take you up Mount Snowdon or something like that.
No.
But, within reason, if we can do it and it's physically possible at the hospice, then we would aim to make living their last wishes the best thing.
So these are like, events that to celebrate milestones and that. And I'm just interested that in terms of weddings, would that be sort of patients who are wanting to get married?
I believe, yes, in fact, I will say we've had patients who want to get married, but one does fall into mind where it was the daughter of a patient and she
Right.
wanted her mum to be present when she got married or had a blessing. I'm not sure if that was a blessing
Yes.
or a wedding, but yes, she wanted that. And so we did it for that. We made that happen.
Tell me the story of the horse that came to... Do you don't know that one? Oh, right,
No.
okay. No. You remember the gentleman who had a horse and he was end of life? And then he wanted to see his horse, but because he was so poorly, we couldn't take him out to the stable, and we brought the horse into... Might have been on your day off.
I was going to say...
That must have been on your day off or on your holidays, yeah, because that was a
Yes.
biggie. We actually brought a horse.
What I can say, whilst I can't comment anything about a horse,
Yeah.
what I can say is that we welcome we welcome pets
We
into
are
the
pet
hospice.
friendly.
We're pet friendly, but even more so
Yeah.
when the recent, as one of our events that we had, when we had the recent Winter Wonder Garden,
Yes.
we had reindeer, and they were in reception in
Yeah.
a little area, so that went down a storm.
Yeah.
So yes, so whilst I couldn't comment on the horse, I could tell you about the
You
reindeer.
can definitely talk about the reindeer. So the whole purpose around this, the questions and, what we're talking about is that it's to help listeners understand that a hospice may actually not be what you think it is.
I would say most times it's not what you think it
It's
is.
not what you think it
so
is.
much better.
We are coming up to our first commercial break. If you've just joined us, you are listening to Care Across Cultures with me, your host, Mirvan Hussain, on Link FM 96.7. I've been talking to the wonderful Elizabeth Saffery, who is one of the receptionists at Rotherham Hospice, just sharing what a day in the life of a receptionist. We'll be back after this short break to continue the conversation. Welcome back to Care Across Cultures with me, your host, Mirvan Hussain. You're listening to us on Link FM 96.7. If you'd like to join the conversation, please call us on 0114 261 8181 or send us a text message on WhatsApp 079 3984 339. I've been talking and having a conversation with the wonderful Elizabeth Saffery, who is one of the receptionists at Rotherham Hospice. We've been sharing the amazing job that receptionists do. One of the questions that I do want to ask Elizabeth now, as we go back, is, Elizabeth, when people hear the word receptionist, we just think phones, appointments. What else is involved that might surprise us?
I think a lot would surprise, but of course, yes, answering the telephone, making appointments is part of our role. And I'd say 85% of the time we're very busy, which is so different, and I must say this, from when I first started as a volunteer. The role, and bearing in mind I was a volunteer on reception, the role has evolved, so it's almost unrecognisable now.
Really?
It really has.
Okay.
It's so different. In fact, the whole hospice for me is so different to when I first started.
Okay. In a good way?
Oh yes, definitely in a good way.
Yeah.
It's just that, although we offer the same, it's just that I think it's the impact that Matt has had that's made it. It's just a wonderful place, and I can't impress on that enough. But in respect of what we do, yes, we welcome people in, we answer the telephone, we make appointments, but we're also, if you like, another integral part of our role is to assist other departments where we can. Obviously, my main role is a receptionist, but we do help out fundraising where we can. We might help out in the accounts department if they want some work doing, and this is where I rely on a lot of the time my volunteer, whichever I'm doing, because whilst I do work just 2 set days a week, I can, like yesterday, I did work yesterday as well, and I got acquainted with other volunteers who I don't work with all the time, but they're all of a very high standard.
Yes.
So yes, we do lots of things. We don't just sit behind a desk. We will escort, as I mentioned earlier. Somebody comes in, it's the first time, they've no idea where they're going. We escort them, give them little tours to give them some sort of familiarity.
Right.
So that when they walk in, they think, yeah, I know this. I know what I can do. I know where I can go. I know what's available. So we do that. And that can take, depending on, how busy we are. And that's the beauty of having the volunteer, that you can leave them or they will do the tour. Another thing that we will do on reception, and again it's to do with when visitors come in, but a lot of people are frightened to come to the hospice.
Yes, that's true.
They don't know what to expect. They don't know what's available, and so sometimes patients who are maybe receiving community care, that's where our staff from the hospice go out into the community to patients at home or in homes or wherever, and offer a service there, potentially with the thought that they may actually be coming in, but there's a fear.
Yes.
They don't want to come in. There's a fear about what's going to happen when they come in there, and often they're invited to come in and have a look to try and allay that fear. And relatives' fears as well. So we'll do a little tour and we'll take them down. Sometimes the nurses will do it, sometimes we will do it. I like doing that part of it because the reaction when you see people's faces, they're sort of like, it's like a veil comes down, and they think, do you know, this is not bad. This is not what I thought. And
it's
I
that
think
revelation,
that's lovely.
isn't it?
It
you
is.
know, where they're sort of, the worries just disappear from their face.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's just lovely to see that.
Yeah.
And you know, and you're trying to show them and say, look, anything that you want, we will try and do.
Yes. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what cultural background you have.
That's an important thing. I'm glad that you mentioned the cultural aspect, because this programme is called Care Across Cultures. So I know there's some things that you've done in your role as a receptionist, but also there's some other things that you've done which wouldn't necessarily be part of the role of a receptionist as people understand. Now, one of the things that I'll just remind you is that we've had various cultural events at the hospice, and we'll be having some more. We had the Ramadan Experience Day. We've had an Eid celebration. We've had the Holy Colour Festival. We've had the Chinese New Year. So you've actually met a lot of people from different cultures. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that sort of feel? And is that the first time that's happened? But is that something that's been happening for a while?
Well, I've got to be honest, Mirban, that whilst we've always been available to everybody within the Rotherham borough, because obviously that's what we cover, and it's not restricted to any particular culture, everybody and anybody.
Right.
And it's only from, and I say this to you, it's only from since you've come that I've realised and learnt that different cultures view the hospice differently.
Yes.
And have been even less aware of what the hospice offers than what other cultures have said. So anybody who comes into the hospice, we will try and go along with whatever it is that they need to fulfil their stay with us. I know that you've run some courses. In fact, I was on reception sometimes when you've had maybe 20, 30 people from your background, or Hindu or something, other backgrounds, and you have had the talk and you fetched them in, and people sort of come in and you can see them looking around thinking, this isn't what I expected.
Exactly.
This isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
This isn't what I thought it was. And then when you've had them in there and you've had a talk for 20 minutes or this, that, the other, they come to reception and they say, this is wonderful, this is lovely, I really like this, can I be a volunteer? And I think you'll know some of them. Some of the people have actually volunteered from there. So I think what it's done, it's opened up something which they really didn't realise was available. So it's a big shout out to you there, because it has done what it was intended to do.
But I think the key point in that is after the tour and after the visit, after the events, when they come to sign out and they engage with you and other receptionists, that's when they really share the things that really matter.
Yes.
The things that really make a difference.
Yes.
How they actually feeling, and that's what you see, and that's what
we
you
see.
hear.
Yeah, that's what we see, what we hear. It's just lovely to see the appreciation. I don't know if that's the right word, the appreciation. The sort of, maybe is because they didn't appreciate what was available to them.
Yeah.
So now they have a different understanding.
They have a different understanding.
And they want to make use of the facilities now.
Be part of the hospice in some way, shape or form. And this is part of our Living Life's Wishes strategy in terms of how do we, it's not enough to say that we're here for everyone. we have to be proactive in helping people know and understand
Yes.
that this is what we do. And you've shared some things with us, which is amazing. A real impact. I mean, this was an impact. You know, people coming, learning. Is there a real impact, do you think, that, you know, you've come across in the hospice, you know, where you felt your role or someone else's role really mattered?
Yeah, and there's one that, if anybody would ask me this question, this is the one that sticks to mind every time. I was on reception, it'd probably be 2 or 3 years ago now, certainly post-COVID, and the reception setup was different to how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of immediately to the right was a sitting area. Before we had the doors that go out onto the balcony, there was a sitting area there, and there was a gentleman who came in, and I'd been used to seeing him coming in to visit his wife, and I think she must have passed on my 5 days off. So I hadn't been aware, but I saw him come in, and I think I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Friday, Saturday. This had happened, but when I was in on the Tuesday, he was in, and I learnt that, and I offered my condolences, this and that. But like a lot of people do still like to come in afterwards. Yeah. They like to come and feel the familiarity, and feel the love, if you like, for want of the just the feeling of still the connection, if you like, yes, of being with their loved one, albeit they're no longer with us. But the gentleman was sat at the side, and I was busy doing reception work, and because of the location of where he was sat, it's difficult not to hear what he was saying. Right. He was actually on the telephone, and he was talking to someone, and I heard him say, "I can't go on. Okay. I don't want to be here anymore." And I'm thinking, I'm listening to this conversation, I'm thinking, I need to do something here. I need to intervene. I can't. I don't want to live without her. And those sort of similar comments.
Right. Okay.
Couldn't carry on living alone. And I mean, even now, I've got a bit goosey thinking about it, because it meant something to me. So I thought it's essential. I need to get somebody to intervene, because something else that people may not be aware of is that we do offer a counselling service, which can be post or pre bereavement, and I went down and spoke with one of the counsellors. In fact, I got one of the counsellors to come up, took them to one side in the room, and I just explained what I'd overheard, and they were able to go and speak to the gentleman. They took him to one side, and they got him into the counselling process sooner than normal.
Right.
And I have to say, for some time, continual time after that, he came in on a regular basis, and I could actually see the life coming back in him.
Oh, wow. Looking
at the life that there was still a life to be lived. And it was lovely to see that. And, I thought, that had a real impact on me, that because of something I heard and something I did, this gentleman's life, hopefully, was for the better, because of something, speaking to one of our counsellors, and making things, not repairing things, but giving them a reason to live. Yeah. And he came in, and you could literally see it week by week. You could see but you could see the sadness lift. You could see it, and it was lovely to see, and it was really, really nice, and that really had a big impact on me, that one.
It's a grief I'm getting goosebumps. It's a grief process, isn't it? Because people grieve in different ways. And what I'm sort of thinking about now is that, what if you hadn't have heard?
Yes, of course.
Or what if you were so busy engrossed in something else and you didn't hear? Yeah. Or you heard and then, you didn't do anything about it. what may potentially have happened to that person. We don't know, do we? Thankful that you did.
What I would say is there's lots in life, there's lots of what ifs and whats and buts and this, that and the other. The thing to take from that is, I did hear. I did do something. We got him the help.
Yes.
And he became who he became.
Yeah.
And he was all the better for it.
And all the better for it.
And his grief was dealt with. He dealt with his grief, or learned the tools to deal with his grief, to sort of make his life worth living, if you like.
So what I'm taking away from that, Elizabeth, is that to anyone who's listening, is that a receptionist's role is much more than just telephones and appointments.
We are.
Come and have a chat. And I do, you know, when I go and give talks, wherever I go, and I do say to people, I said, look, phone us up. If you want to know, if you don't have to come to me. You don't have to ask me a question at the end of this session. Phone up. Ask one of the receptionists. Ask them for some advice. Ask them for some, you know, if you don't know some. Or actually, and just turn up at the hospice. And this goes for every hospice across the country, because there is a hospice wherever you are. There's one close to you. Just turn up. Go and speak to one of the amazing reception staff and just talk to them and say, I'm not quite sure about this, and I don't even know who to ask, but and here you are, you've got, you know, and they will be able to help you and give you some advice and give you some guidance.
And if we don't know the answer, we can find out from somebody who does.
Yeah, you can find out. Now, the other thing is that there's something that you've done as a receptionist, which is definitely not part of your role. I started a series of language classes, essential phrases for staff. And you were really good in the Cantonese one, weren't you? You were really good.
So you say?
Well, no, I mean, it's not just me, because, you know, the Cantonese trainers that came in, they said as well. But then you did something else, didn't you? You have an interest in something called BSL.
Yes.
I'd like you to share a little bit about that, BSL. But tell us what it is.
Okay.
And what did you do with it?
BSL is British Sign Language. It's something I've always been interested in. That's something I have always wanted to do and learn, but I'd never taken it further forward. Other than, this is interesting, I went on the wealth of information that is Google.
Yes.
And I actually learnt the alphabet.
Okay.
By looking on various things on Google. Mm-hmm. And I just learnt the alphabet, and that's as far as it went. One particular day, it was a Monday, because the particular volunteer that I was working with works on a Monday, and she happened to say during conversation that she was doing flower arranges, something. I said, "Oh, well, how do you find all these courses?" And she gave me a sheet of paper, and on it was BSL, simple BSL.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Thursday, excuse me. I don't work Thursdays. I thought, oh, brilliant. And it was at Greensborough.
Yeah.
So I turned up to a 6-week introduction to British Sign Language. And there were probably about 9 or 10 of us in age ranging from 40 to 85.
Wow, okay.
And we had a great teacher, Katie, who taught us just the very, very simple things. It was a 6-week course. By the time we got to the end of the 6 weeks, the numbers had dwindled a little bit. A couple of people dropped out because they found it difficult because of the dexterity with the hands. Mm-hmm. And you need to be quite dexterous with your fingers. And they dropped out. And when we came to the end of the course, because there were the sort of 5 core members still left who showed a great interest, Katie managed to create another course with a slightly different name where we could continue on. And we did it for about 18 months.
Wow, okay, long time.
But it was a 2-hour course. It was 2 hours a day, once a week. But once you'd got over the first hour when we had a chit chat, because it was a community course, there were no tests or exams at the end of it. Because it was a community course, it was all about making friends and learning things. But so that was what was essential about it. I still meet up with them now, but at the end of the 18 months, it stopped. After you did your Cantonese course, I happened to approach Lindsay, who is our trainer, and I said, "Do you know, Lindsay?" I said, "I've been doing British Sign Language, and I am no means an expert, but I am an enthusiastic learner." And I said, if you wanted, I would happily give a little introduction based on my first 6 weeks to the hospice, if you think it." She grabbed my hand off. She said,
Yes.
"I needed somebody to do that." So what I did, I put together a booklet of all sorts of things, because it was going to be a 2-hour thing. Printed all the booklets off, and I hand people booklets out, and I've done 3 sessions.
You've done through 3 amazing sessions, because I've had feedback from staff, and they've said that you're absolutely amazing and they've learnt so much.
Oh, thank you.
We are coming to the end of the programme. You've been listening to Care Across Cultures with me, your host, Mirvan Hussain, and Elizabeth Saffery, who is not just a receptionist at Rotherham Hospice, but much, much more. And the whole purpose around these series of programmes, A Day in the Life of, is to destigmatise and help people understand that a hospice is not just a place where you go to die. There is a lot of support available in the hospice for cancer, end-of-life care, palliative care, and life-limiting illnesses. If you are wanting to know more about any of these, please reach out to your local hospice. If you're in Rotherham, we're at Rotherham Hospice. Reach out to us and just have a conversation about how we can help you. Now, I'm going to go back to Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth, we've got a few minutes. I want you to finish off the programme in terms of what would you like to leave with our audience as a last message.
My overwhelming message is, it's a lovely place to come. People don't come here. In fact, this should be first. People don't come here just to die. They come here to live the best life that they can for the time that they've got left. That is the overwhelming thing that I would say. The hospice is not just about me and the nurses. There are a whole load of backroom staff, and every one of us helps make the hospice run. Every one of us is an important part. If we drop, I suppose it's a bit like a piece of machinery. If we lose one cog, we can still manage. If we start losing other cogs, it just doesn't work.
We're going to struggle.
And everybody who works at the hospice has a role at the hospice, has a role that brings and delivers the service that we're very, very proud of.
Thank you so much. With that, we are going to close the programme. Thank you for always tuning in and listening. I will be back with another guest next week. Until then, Allah Hafiz and bye-bye.